Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Inspired Moments with Jumoke. My name is Jumoke Olagunju, and in today's episode I'll be showing you how to draft a simple skirt pattern. Okay, will be the basic skirt pattern. We've been over the past few weeks, we've been doing a lot of tops. We did baby shoe last week. So I think let's just do skirts too. We've done shorts, so that for your tops you have a skirt to go with it. So we'll be drafting the basic skirt pattern, and next week we'll do a simple skirt that have with an attachment so that you can practice. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started. Let's make it quickly. So to draft a skirt pattern, these are the basic measurements you need. You need the skirt length. For this one is 23 inches. You need the waist circumference, 36 inches. Then you divide it by 4. That is 9 inches plus half inch for his. Then, you need the hip circumference. For this pattern is 47 inches divided by 4. That's 11 3/4. Then add half inch as seam. That's 12 1/4. Then you need the hip depth. Hip depth from waist to the hip line, that is 9 inches. So let's get going. First, I've drawn the guideline here. So on this side I'm going to put my skirt length, which is 23 inches. I'm not adding allowance or hemming allowance or anything, just the basic pattern. Okay, now for here I'm going to find the value of my hip circumference. Remember we said we divide, after calculating it we have 12 1/4. So I'm going to measure 12 1/4 here. 12 1/4 here. Just going to mark 12 1/4 and draw a straight line. 12 1/4. Connect it. Okay, let's mark 23 inches just so that everything is straight. 23 inches. Okay, then on this other side, so I'm going to measure the hip circumference, the quarter value. I'm drafting both the back and the front pattern together. So 12 1/4. Okay, 12 1/4. I want to make this as fast as possible. Okay, then we'll connect. Let's measure this one also. Make sure it's 23 inches. So 23 inches is somewhere here. Connect all the lines. Okay, so we'll have, this is the back and this is the front. This is the center back. This is the center front. Okay, this is the center front. I hope you can see here. Let me try and adjust the camera so that you can see up to this side. Okay, so I think it's clearer now. So this is the center back, and on this side we have the center front. All right, so on the side line here, this is the side seam. We're going to insert the hip depth, which is 9 inches. 9 inches. So I'm just going to mark 9 inches on the center back and center front also, so that I can draw my straight line. Then I'll connect the line. All right, so now we'll have to think about what the intake will be. There are standard that you can use, but there's also a personal fit chart that you can use, but I'll just use a standard. If I want to make a 2-dart pattern, I'll use 2 darts at the back, 2 inches, 1 inch for each dart. Then in the front I'll use 1 1/4, 5/8 for each dart. But for this one I'm just going to use the standard. I'm going to use 3 inches for both. So I'm going to divide the 3 inches into 1 1/2 for the back, 1 1/2 for the front. So my dart intake at the back and the front is 1.5. Like I said, there's a chart that you can use for personal intake, which is based on the waist circumference and the hip. So it depends on the size. So we're taking that of 1.5. So at this point here, let me try and label this. Let's call this A, let's call this point B, and this point C. This is the hip point, all right, hip depth. So on this part, let's call D and E. Okay, we still have F, E, F, G. Okay, let's stop as that. So from D going towards from F here, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. The actually measurement for that, usually you use the back hip depth, but I don't want to confuse it with back hip depth, front, side, and all that. So just come down by 1/2 inch from F here. Then calculate the waist circumference. We have calculated it to be 9.5. You're going to add 1.5 to that, which is the dart intake. So that's 9, 10, 11 inches. So I'm going to mark 11 inches here. 11 inches is here. So at G also, from G here also, I'm going to mark 11 inches. Since it's the same dart intake that we are using, so 9.5 plus 1.5 is 11 inches. So I'm going to mark 11 inches also. Then for the dart placement, usually we use the dart placement for, like we use in the basic bodies, which is at the bust point. So for this one, there's 4 inches. So I'm just going to use the dart placement of 4 inches. 4. Then mark 4 here also. From the center back and the center front, then measure my darts, which is 1.5. Find the center of this 1.5. That means when you divide it, you have 3/4 of an inch on both sides. So if I divide it, I have 3/4. So from that midpoint, this is the back. Again, this is the back. I'm going to go down by 5.5 inches. When you start drafting, maybe they can make a little bit of adjustment and go up, like maybe make it 4 inches or 4.5. But for the standard, let's just go 5.5. Sorry. So that's for this point. Then at the side here, which is the waist measurement, you're going to come up by 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. From that 1/2 inch mark, use your hip cuff to connect to this line. It should not be on. It should be like midpoint on this AC line. You're just going to connect it. It's a little bit lower than the midpoint, a little bit lower than the midpoint between A and C. We'll do the same thing. Sorry, I have to go up by, you start from that 1/2 inch mark, please. From the 1/2 inch mark. Okay. Then we're going to connect this with a curve. We came down, we dropped the back, center back by 1/2 inch. You're going to join it. So you're going to, connect all this with a curve. A slight curve. All right. So that's it. We have to make sure that our dart leg is balanced, 5 1/4. If it's not balanced, you adjust accordingly. Okay, at this point also, we are through with the back pattern. So at the front, we also go up by half an inch. Then our dart placement, before we forget, 1.5 inches from the dart point, 1.5. Then find the midpoint, 3/4 of an inch. So the dart length is 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches. Then you connect. All right. So use your hip curve to connect from this 1/2 inch extension. I'm using different color markers so that you can see the adjustment we are making to the original line. Then you connect with a downward slope. Okay. So that's it for the your basic skirt pattern is ready. Okay, so we can cut it out and then go on to drafting the style that we want to draft. All right, so that's it for today's episode. I hope that you've learned one or two things, and like I always say, I would love to see your practice work. For all the previous episode, the things you have been practicing, share with us on our Facebook Facebook group, the Inspired Design School of Fashion. And also there's this channel on Telegram that's specifically created for this program. It is called Inspired Moments with Jumoke. I will drop the link now so that you can search for it on Telegram and join the channel. On the channel, you'll be able to have access to all our previous episodes on Inspired Moment with Jumoke, and even some videos I've uploaded before now. Also, we are on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, the Inspired Design School of Fashion, that will have even more videos, more tutorials that you can learn from. So try and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Facebook, the Inspired Design Clothing on our page, and at the Inspired Design on Instagram. All this so that you don't miss any of our free tutorials. And finally, if you are interested in learning fashion designing online, we have at the Inspired Design School of Fashion, we have a complete online fashion school that you can join. You can call the number on the screen to make inquiries about our online fashion school. All right, thank you for joining me today. See you next week. Bye.